Welcome to Ask Lincoln. Now, let's kick it off with the parade itself. Trump's military parade on June 14th, 2025. Tanks, jets, 6,600 soldiers. $45 million for a military spectacle. All to celebrate Trump's birthday and the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army. Some say it was a powerful show of strength. Others are calling it an authoritarian flex. Abe, where do you land on this? Was it the ultimate display of American power? Or just a big birthday party for Trump?
Oh, it was a party, all right. But let's be real here. Tanks in the streets of D.C. on the president's birthday? That's not just patriotism. That's a dictator's dream. You know, a little like those parades you see in North Korea, but with more American flags and less marching to the beat of glory to the leader. But hey, who's counting? Trump probably thinks this is his I'm the real king of America moment. You know, eat your cake, America. And here are the tanks to remind you who's the boss. It was more about his ego than the army, in my opinion.
Right. It's hard to miss the comparison with dictatorships. But some people would argue that, while it's definitely a spectacle, it's not necessarily about dictatorship. What do you think about the symbolism of the parade? Does it symbolize strength? Or is it just Trump turning the country into his personal stage?
Let me put it this way. If I'd thrown a parade in 1863, people would have said, "Good job, Abe. You won the Civil War." But I didn't, because we're not supposed to do that. A president's job is to serve the country, not use the military as a tool for self-promotion. The fact that Trump chose this moment, his birthday of all days, to trot out tanks, jets, and soldiers like some personal prop. Yeah, that sends a very dangerous message. It's like if I had shown up in a big top hat, surrounded by an army, and said, "I'm the president, but also I'm a king now."
I can't even picture that. Lincoln in a top hat, leading a parade with tanks. But seriously, let's talk about the money. $45 million. That's a lot of cash. There's a lot of talk about the financial side of things, and it really rubs people the wrong way, especially when it's coming from a military budget. Some critics are saying, hey, that money could have gone into healthcare, schools, or, I don't know, literally anything else. What's your take on that?
Oh, I'm sure the tanks were definitely worth it. Who needs better health care or education when you can roll M1 Abrams tanks past the Lincoln Memorial, right? And don't get me started on the military budget. Cutting funds for veterans to fund a birthday parade. That's like stealing someone's lunch money to buy a candy bar for yourself. I mean, it's irresponsible. Even Republicans are starting to raise their eyebrows at the cost. It's classic Trump, spending massive amounts on things that feed his image while ignoring real problems people are facing. As a former president, I know there's a line between patriotism and self-promotion. This, all promotion, baby.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the money could have gone elsewhere. But then there's the flip side. The people who were all in for the parade, supporters of the parade, were out there saying, this is about American pride, about showing strength. Trump's team insists it was all about honoring the troops. I mean, I get it. Who doesn't like a good celebration of the army, right? But Abe, do you think it really honored the troops? Or was it more about honoring Trump?
Here's the thing. Soldiers deserve recognition. No doubt. But it's not about a self-serving parade for a sitting president. Honor comes from actions, not grandiose displays. If Trump wanted to honor the troops, he could have used that money to actually improve conditions for veterans. Or, address real issues like the fact that military families are struggling. Let's face it, this parade was a way to turn an army celebration into Trump's personal carnival. And let's be honest, if he could have added a fire-breathing dragon to it, he would have.
Imagine a fire-breathing dragon in the middle of all that, with the tanks and jets. But moving to the protests and the symbolism of those protests, people are out there chanting "No Kings." They're waving American flags but calling out the parade. What are they really trying to say with that message? Is this more about Trump being a king, or is there a deeper issue here?
Well, the no kings thing, it's powerful. It taps into the idea that America's not supposed to be ruled by one person. We're supposed to be a democracy where the people have the power. It's about keeping power in check and saying, you can't just ride roughshod over everyone with your military might. They're not just protesting a parade. They're protesting what they see as a shift toward authoritarian rule. Trump's parade symbolized this larger trend of concentrating power. And let me tell you, if you think America doesn't have a monarch, you've clearly never watched a Trump rally where the crowd chants Trump, 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 like he's some kind of emperor.
Yeah, there's definitely a cult of personality element to it. People love the guy, but at what cost? And that's what's behind the protests. The fear that Trump is steering the ship towards authoritarianism. But here's where it gets tricky. Some people, especially Trump supporters, feel like the military parade was a return to patriotism. They think it showed strength and unity. How do you respond to that? Is it about strength, or is it just a spectacle?
I'm all for showing strength, but strength doesn't come from parades. It comes from actions. A true show of American strength would have been standing up for democracy and protecting civil liberties, not using tanks to parade around to remind everyone that you're in charge. Strength is about serving the people, not putting on a show for the cameras. You don't need military hardware to make a point. You need policies that actually help the country. Strength isn't about flexing with tanks. It's about working to improve lives.
Totally. And then, of course, there's the billionaire angle. Musk and Trump. Musk, now running Twitter or X, or whatever it's called now, reinstated Trump's account and has gone back and forth with him. It's like a reality show at this point. So, how do these two billionaires, Trump and Musk, fit into the story? Are they a good combo for America? Or are they just self-interested power players trying to control the narrative?
Ah, the classic billionaire odd couple. Musk's out here tweeting about free speech while simultaneously playing footsie with Trump's brand of authoritarianism. Honestly, it's like watching two people try to outdo each other on who's the bigger power player. You've got Musk, who bought Twitter to control the narrative, and Trump, who's been controlling the narrative through his own reality TV style presidency. Neither of them are doing this for the greater good. They're doing it for themselves. It's less about what's best for America and more about flexing power. And that, my friend, is not a good mix for a democracy.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game they're playing. Now, to wrap it up, let's hit on a fun one. We've been talking about $45 million for a parade that could have been spent elsewhere. But let's say you got that money. Abe, what would you do with it? Let's say it's your call. No parade, just your decision on what that money goes to.
Oh, easy. I'd build schools, fund healthcare, and put that money into infrastructure that actually benefits people. Not some over-the-top birthday party for an old man in a tank. I'd put it into mental health services for veterans, fight the opioid crisis, and maybe buy a few books for good measure. We can always use more books.
That's the kind of spending we could get behind. No tanks, no ego trips. Just real, solid investments in America's future. Well, that's all the time we've got for today. Abe, thanks for dropping those truth bombs on us. And to our audience, remember, no matter how crazy it gets, democracy's still a team sport. We'll catch you next time.
That's it for now. Got more questions? Subscribe and ask me live. I'll answer right in the stream. I'm Abraham Lincoln. See you next time.